I've got allergies on flowering trees, on a birch, and some other kinds of trees that blooming. Allergies, my eyes are itching. I got running nose, I have cough. I have cough, I think, ever since I was born. It was terrible. Psychosomatic states allergies to be a reaction on some sort of threat. It's an emotional reaction that person releases throughout his body. Occasionally, allergen. Allergen is an association with a fear. It can be a fear of death, or something that threatens person's life, a danger of a physical assault or even rape. So you just have stopped being offended at your too close people. Yes, maybe right. My nose. It feels better now. Well, is it breathing? Yes, it is. Breathing very well, so to say. Today we're talking about allergies. In terms of classical medical approach, allergy is a perverse reaction on different substances that are considered to be allergens. There is a huge amount of these allergens. Starting a list of the ones that we have in our everyday life: pollen, dust inside the houses, cats, dogs. Some types of food and containing was a personal allergens. And seasonal. Presently, everything is blooming outside, and many people who have seasonal allergies on birch, pollen of other plants, have started feeling it on themselves. I consider it necessary and important in this time to hold live in Instagram, where I'll give information on the meaning of allergies in terms of psychosomatics. Understanding human health outside of classical approaches. When you are diagnosed with allergy, sometimes allergen is detected. There are situations when the allergen is not detected. Allergic reaction without the knowledge of its origin. Allergens can change. At times it's one and other times it's another, while the clinical picture remains the same. And then, person excludes his contacts with allergen, and it seems that the illness is gone. If it's seasonal allergies, the season is over, the pollen is gone, the problem solved. At other times, people have allergies on a regular dust or other everyday things they connected with. In that case, they have allergies at all times. It can be allergic rhinitis, skin manifestations, hives, dermatitis. It bothers a person for the rest of his life. Therefore, classical medical approach offers a person to take medicine to lower down tissue histamine level. They prescribed antihistamine medicine or some other pills that lower down the symptoms of allergic reactions. Obviously, a person continues to be ill because he compensates this perverse reaction of his body by means of an external chemical agent. As time passes, unfortunately, many people increase their dosage. Some people starting with allergic rhinitis, in addition get asthma, asthmatic component manifestates, and illness becomes much heavier. Originally having light rhinitis some years ago, a person continues with bronchial asthma, which is a heavy and abnormal state and illness. What do we understand by allergies according to psychosomatics? Most likely, I'll not surprise anyone by recalling your memories of school anatomy and psychology courses. It's usually taught in 9th grade. I have been in the 8th grade educational system. You most likely remember a great Russian scientist Pavlov. And the Pavlov's theory of reflexes, I think you all remember. If you don't remember, I'm going to recall a famous experiment with a dog. There was a small hole made in the dog's stomach. It was given a plate with food, and there was a light bulb turning on near the dog at the same time. Eventually the dog saw food and a light at the same time, began to secrete gastric juice. It was done several times. Appearance of food in area of dog sensitivity caused the increasing of gastric juice level. It was done several times. But then was a new thing. The plate with food was gone, but the light bulb was still there. When the light bulb was being turned on, the dog started to secrete same amount of gastric juice. What it tells us? It tells us that the person can have some attitude towards a situation. At the same time, there is always some background at any occasion. So there are some secondary factors that the human mind can memorize. Psychosomatic states allergies to be a reaction on some sort of threat. It's an emotional reaction that person releases throughout his body. Occasionally, allergen. Allergen is an association with a fear. It can be a fear of death, or something that threatens person's life, a danger of a physical assault or even rape. It's going to be a reaction to some painful situation. Maybe a breakup with someone. A breakup happened, somebody broke up with someone, and at the moment, when everything was blooming outside, and a lady or a man had memorized that at the moment of intense emotional pain, there was a strong smell, maybe the smell of flowers, maybe some other background. So the allergen can be memorized just like a light bulb of Pavlov, or some associated factor. Another example, if you had some life-threatening situation when you were walking alone in a dark street, then somebody attacked you. The next time you will plan a walk on the dark street, either you will avoid going there or you will check many times. You might take security or some kind of flashlight to keep yourself away from a potential threat. Allergens are such things that we can't control, but they can affect without conditions, and then, beyond human will, his body launches physical reaction that classical medicine names allergy. Therefore, all clinic pictures appear. The aim of a psychotherapist who works with psychosomatics and works with physical illness is to detect the conflict or several conflicts. There are times when a person has several conflicts. There must be some sort of preset for the situation. Plus, it always must be considered that a patient who is ill for a long time has a secondary benefit for his disease. It's good to be ill for some people. You receive care and attention. In some families, having a problem is the main incentive to get attention, warmth and love. If everything is good, it's plain. It's not necessary to pay attention to each other. And the illness becomes a good setup for normal human relationships. And then allergy or other illness integrates that system. And for getting rid of this illness, it's not enough to detect this trauma. It's also need to work through the secondary benefit or other forms of interaction that are formed in the family or in a private life. In this case, there is no need for the illness anymore. It stops manipulating the relationships. I don't see the reason to analyze these subtleties. It makes sense to analyze some situations with participants who will eloquently confirm my speech. From a point of view of the classical medicine, when a patient must take pills and other medicines, in my opinion, is a standstill. Although medicine can be used to ease dangerous cases in situations where anaphylactic shock is presented, there is no time for psychotherapy. It is important to stop the symptoms right away to save the patient. Otherwise, they can lead to death, actualization of fear. People that have allergies on bees, they get stung by a bee and fall into anaphylactic shock. Others have such reactions on anesthetics. That's why, before a person goes under anesthesia in hospital, he takes a test to predict perverse reaction. When not the operation itself, but the anesthesia lead to death. These are medical details. My name is Ivan. Ivan, good job. Got headphones on. Yes, what's up, Ivan? I've got allergies on flowering trees. On a birch and some other kinds of trees that blooming. Where do you live now? I live in Stavropol. I used to live in Krasnoyarsk. Stavropol. Wow. Why have you moved to Stavropol from Krasnoyarsk? My parents have decided that it will be better this way. The more southern, the better? Well, yes. Okay, how are you feeling now? Well, I'm a little nervous now. I didn't expect you to work with me today. But it turned out you took me and I'm a little nervous. Let's put this aside. It's not an examination. Yes. How are you feeling? I am feeling. I constantly have a stuffy nose. Well, stuffy. Yes, my nose is stuffy all the time, so I'm used to it. How many years it lasts? Well, approximately around the age of 10 it has started. So around 6 years, maybe more. Well, I have a problem that my nasal septum is displaced. And the problem is... There are many people with displaced septum, but they don't have such state, like yours. But not for all. So your nose is stuffy for 6 years. Do you have a sense of smell? Yes, I do have a sense of smell, but it is a stuffy constantly. Also, allergies, my eyes are itching. I got running nose, I have cough. I think, ever since I was born. It was terrible. Ivan, tell me please, there's no any other symptoms besides your stuffy nose at the moment, correct? Yes. Okay, let's work with it. Alright? Sure. So, the process is simple. You concentrate on your sensation. I'll name the years of your life. You will tell yourself, I'm 10 years old. And you will listen to your nose if the sensation present or something has changed. It can become stronger, it can become weaker, or it can totally disappear. We have a deal, yes? So, are you concentrated? Well, yes. Tell yourself, I'm 10 years old. I am 10 years old. How do you feel? It's there. It's there. I'm 1 year old. I'm 1 year old. I think it's gone. It's disappeared. I'm 3 years old. I think it's gone. I'm 5 years. It's beginning again. I'm 4 years old. I'm 4 years old. Some doubts. Most likely there's not. There's not. I'm 5 years. How do you feel? Yes, there is a feeling of a stuffy nose again. The sensation is back. What was happening at this age connected with this feeling? Let me try to remember something like this. You're 5 years old and it's happening and you feel it in the nose area. 5 years. 5 years. Well, I can't remember anything outstanding, unfortunately. It's simple, you feel the stuffiness. Actually, I have moved. I have moved from Krasnoyarsk to another city, to my grandparents' house. In my parents' opinion, ecology was better there. Well, and I was always homesick and missing my parents. Probably there is a connection. They were seldom visiting me. Maybe something connected with it. So your grandma has a good ecology and your parents have literally deported you. You were missing them, and they came to visit you once a year, or how often? They came to visit me more than once a year. Probably once a month. On the weekend they were visiting and stayed for just 2 days. What feelings did you have due to the fact that your parents were visiting you just for 2 days? Well, I was offended by the fact that they were leaving so fast. I couldn't understand many things. I didn't realize that it was better for me. It's obvious that you couldn't understand it, but you felt this way, that my two closest people left me. Because of good ecology, right? That's how you were feeling. So tell yourself, I'm 1 day old. I am 1 day old, I am inside my mother's belly. I am inside my mother's belly. How do you feel there? I feel content. Feel content. Imagine that God occurs to you and tells you, Dear Ivan, when you will be 5 years old, your parents will take you to your grandma's house and you will leave you there. You will be missing them very much and you will be offended by the situation, as they will be visiting you just for 2 days. But this is all for love, happiness and joy, for you to feel confident, self-sufficient. Boy, who enjoys his life, feels happiness, joy and pleasure, gets pleasure from each event of his life, and enjoy it every day without any conditions. How do you feel? You know, it's like I feel more peaceful. Before I had mixed feelings, and now I'm starting to feel better. The shiver is gone. I'm 5 years old, and my parents left me at my grandma's house. How am I feeling there? Depression. There is no such depression anymore. Well, I have the anticipation of new sunrise to say. Wonderful. How about the sensation in your nose? I think it's better now. So, how much better? Approximately 80% better. What have we done? You take a pill? No, I didn't. So you just have stopped being offended at your too close people? Well, yes, probably. Well, have you been offended by somebody else in your life? Maybe friends? Yes, I used to be a resentful person, and now I have changed my point of view. It is present in your existence. You have offended not only concerning your parents, although you are very young. You have created a death list for all people who ruined your life. You collected them. That's why the other 20% is about that. Let's work with it. Which one of your friends did you wrong? I remember an occasion when I used to live in the same village. Well, I guess this occasion is not as important, but I feel offended. Yes, I feel offended. I used to have a friend whose name is Maxim. We met back then. I was outside and he approached me, start talking to me. I bet it's how we met. Once he visited my house. He visited my house, we spent some time together and he left. The next day I have found out that there is a toy missing. He swiped it. Yes, swiped it. So I started asking. I had some connection around back then, and I was told, I bet Maxim have taken that toy. The next day I came to his house and confronted him. I said to him, so you did this? Actually, he wasn't at home, and I spoke with his father. Well, actually, it turned out that his father had noticed a new toy. But Maxim told him that I gave it to him as a present. Well, and he accused me of lying. I was hurt so much by his behavior. He slandered me. I was, I don't know, ready to tear him apart. How old were you? I was a bit older. Maybe 10. Yes, I was around 10. A nice place with good ecology, but the situations were happening to you there. So tell yourself, I'm 1 day old and inside my mother's belly. I'm 1 day old and inside my mother's belly. It's pleasant for you there, I understand. At this moment God comes to you and tells, Ivan, it will happen in your life that you will meet a boy named Maxim. The next day, Maxim will come to your house and steal a toy from you. He will tell his father that you gave it to him as a present, although it will be a lie. All of it for love, joy and happiness. For you to feel happy, self-sufficient, generous in future. Boy who can share anything with the world. All that you have and feel joyful. It's just for you to become friends with people easily and get happiness out of it. How are you feeling? Well, just a second. It's starting to feel better inside. Feel better. Maybe... Oh, well. This experience is not as strong as with my parents, but I got some relief from this situation. What about your nose? Some kind of... Yes, I feel. I feel some percent of relief. How many percent is there left? It is hard for me to detect. I can't tell. Approximately. Subjectively. It's obvious subjective. This is not body temperature. Well, you know, there were so many situations with Maxim. I understand that your life is a blockbuster, by the age of 16. Let's work through these memories all together. Tell yourself, I'm 1 day old, I'm inside my mother's belly, again. At this moment God comes to me and tells, Dear Ivan, in your life it will turn out for you to be constantly offended by people acting unethical according to you. You will be frustrated because of that. But all of this happens for love, joy and happiness, for you to feel happy, self-sufficient, loving and beloved person who gets joy and happiness from his life, who enjoys every day without any conditions, and feels great pleasure from life. How are you feeling? You know that it's now like... Well, I try to describe true feelings, not in my mind. My nose, it feels better now. Well, is it breathing? Yes, it is. Breathing very well, so to say. So your nose is breathing and functioning clearly. Yes, I can say it this way, although you are not feeling your nose since you were 6. Yes, I think so. Okay, all of it was in the past. Deal with it. Okay, Ivan, wish you luck and success. All the best. Thank you. Goodbye. Goodbye.